has meant a fundamental kind of reorientation of economic activity, and the winners and the losers. And I'm going to look at both employment and then the same kinds of income inequalities that Tim just looked at. So it's a story about Main Street, not regulators, and not and only well, and about Wall Street too. It's based on 3 technical papers. It's not a book. Anyone who wants to see the technical papers can. I'm going to, but I'm going to not do that stuff. So, good. So, what the big idea is that this financialization as a process has kind of both ideological components to it. What we've been sort of the capture of ideas that we've been talking about so far. That that the notion of what we value in an economy, what if you're a manager or a politician, you think is the right way to solve a problem, are increasingly dominated by financial conceptions of economic activity. And the second, which is way closer to the regulatory stories here, is then there's a whole lot of practices among regulators, among firms, that reinforce, exaggerate, and push those tendencies. So one way, and I don't really know if I believe this, and it may be true to the extent that the regulatory project fails, is it's like a big transformation, like agriculture to industry, right? Rise of industrialization. That we run the risk, and I do think it's a risk, of having a permanently financialized society, which transforms how we think about what is financial success. What's the success in an economy? Oh, I'm still on this. Come on. Oh, that's this. That's this. Okay. This is just where I'm going. So here's the core of the argument, which is that firms are less treated as production assets, something that's there to generate employment and a quality of life for citizens, and increasingly as a bundle of assets to be traded. What was the word? Was that you used the word? Something about exploded? The explosions of capital, someone said earlier today.
Atomization.
Atomization, yeah. So one of the things that's happening is that CEOs, for reasons that Tim's already talked about, and I'll talk a little bit more about, get evaluated on their financial performance, not on things like market share. Well, that's a fundamental change in what you do with your assets. Right? If you're being evaluated, you're a good CEO because you've increased market share. Well, then you increase investment in some production economy. Might be in Thailand, might be here. But either way, some other set of actors have been involved at the level of communities, employees, people developing new technologies around consumption, quality of life. And so this happens not just in the finance sector, but it happens in the non-finance sector, right? And then it sort of invades the rest of the society. So pundits and politicians worry more